This app can turn your Spotify playlists and tracks into full-blown seamless DJ mixes. So instead of letting your songs play like this, they can play like this. And your playlist will be harmonically ordered and mixed together with even options to change how each track mixes into each other. And if you want to take things a step further, you can also turn that seamless DJ mix into a DJ mix video too. But for DJs, this app is even more insane. You can literally make mixes out of your playlist regardless of what DJ software you use. So let's say you're a DJ who has 500 songs to mix for a radio show or wedding. Instead of wasting time and energy trying to figure out which songs go together with what, just fire up this app and let it do all the heavy lifting for you, and in seconds, you'll have a perfectly ordered mix featuring smooth and seamless transitions. So this app is DJ Studio, and it goes beyond just analyzing your songs, crafting the perfect order, creating customizable transitions, and exporting mixes in a variety of different formats. DJ Studio takes it a step further by allowing you to seamlessly incorporate tracks from streaming sources like YouTube into your mixes. So the most common problem of sourcing tracks is sorted out because you're literally utilizing tracks from the world's biggest catalog of music. Now let's take a step back and understand how this all works. So first and foremost, you'll need DJ Studio, and luckily, there's a free trial available for 14 days so you can test it out and see if it's a right fit for you. Now with DJ Studio installed and up and running, let's make a mix. When you first launch DJ Studio, you'll be greeted with the option to select your music library. After making your choice, simply press continue and you'll find yourself on the home panel. In the home panel, we have a couple of options where we could source our music. And for those who want to utilize their Spotify playlist, don't worry, I'll get to that soon enough. Now let's get started with our first mix. So back in the home tab, select this item over here. Next, click on local files. In this new section, let's add tracks. To do that, simply press this button over here. Since we selected Rekordbox DJ, all the tracks and playlists associated with that library are available for viewing. For this example, let's choose this playlist I created in Rekordbox DJ. Here you can see the tracks in this playlist along with their key and BPM. Let's select all of them by pressing the plus icon over here and then hit this button over here to add these tracks to your mix. DJ Studio will now import your tracks, and if you've registered your Mixin Key VIP code, Mixin Key will also analyze the tracks for you and determine their exact key notation. Now, once you've selected your tracks, they will appear on the timeline in the exact order you've chosen, seamlessly mixed and synced for your convenience. But before we dive into the intricacies of the transitions, let's first take advantage of DJ Studio's ability to instantly determine the best harmonic sequence for these tracks. So let's press the Auto Mix button over here, then let's select our desired parameters for this mix. Personally, I prefer to position this section in the middle. As for the tracks option, I leave it unselected, allowing DJ Studio to determine the best first and last track based on the keys of the songs. Anyway, let's hit Auto Mix, and then let's click Finish. On the right tab here in the playlist section, you can see how each transition will affect the mix, and this is based on the keys of the track and their compatibility with each other. Now, it's important to note that you also have the option to reorder these tracks as you see fit. For now, let's stick with the order DJ Studio has suggested. Anyway, let's now move on to understanding and modifying our transitions. Let's start with the easy way, followed by the pro way. So to keep things simple, let's click the Carousel tab. Here you'll find all your songs and the transitions used. By default, each transition is set to a bass swap because that type of transition typically offers a clean and seamless shift. But what if you want to change this transition? Well, just click this and now you'll have 4 options. So just click on any one here and that transition will be applied to the tracks. So let's switch this transition from a bass swap to a high to low. Keep in mind you're not limited to just changing transitions. You can also modify the positioning of the transitions as well. To do so, click on the transition block. Here, let's change the mix out point on the current song by clicking and dragging this section here. And let's also change the mix in section of the next song by clicking here and moving the track as needed. What's great about DJ Studio is that it snaps each track perfectly onto the beat grid, ensuring you're always on point. The accuracy depends on where the beat grid is set, and we'll dive deeper into that later on. Anyway, let's now take our transitions to the next level and really customize them. To do that, simply click on the Studio tab right over here. The Studio tab opens up the timeline and reveals a bunch of advanced parameters and functions for tailoring our transitions. And while this section can seem complex, I'll simplify it by highlighting my favorite sections on the Studio Transition tab. First up, we have the length section, which allows us to adjust the duration of our transition block, so you can opt for long blends at 32 or quick blends at 4. Below that, in our transition tab, we have a variety of options to enhance our transitions. And with so many combinations available, it's tempting to get elaborate. However, from experience, I found that simpler transitions often result in a more seamless mix, so less is more as it seems. Now, when I use DJ Studio, I primarily focus on modifying a track's volume, so I simply press the volume section, activate the manual tab, and doing so allows me to adjust the automation line. For added spice, I occasionally incorporate an effect out, specifically the echo out effect. Now let's address a common question and concern. What happens when your tracks aren't perfectly in sync? This can occur due to how DJ Studio analyzes a track, and while it's rare, it's easy to fix. Simply set the correct BPM and manually adjust or set the beat grid. To set a track's BPM, click the track tab here. And in this section, input the track's BPM. Now, if that doesn't resolve the issue, adjust the beat grid. So first zoom in on the track you want to adjust. With the beat grid more visible, you can fine-tune it by nudging it forward or backward using these buttons over here. Once you fix that up, you can also set the first beat. And the first beat determines where the beat grid should start, and this is typically at the 1 of the track or the downbeat. Now let's listen to the improved transition. Much better. Now let's talk about visually elevating your mix. By clicking the Video tab, you can affect your mix's audio visualization. And just like the Transition tab, this tab offers many options to get creative. Now once you've perfected your mix, it'll be time then to save and export it. To export your mix, click the Export button over here and you'll find a range of options. So if you want a high quality audio mix, select Local File, choose Wave, and tick Repitch Audio. Then click Export. But if you don't want the mix but prefer to keep the playlist order DJ Studio has created for you, select DJ Set and opt for M3U8. To load that playlist into Rekordbox DJ, follow these steps. You can also export your mix as an Ableton project, and that project will contain all the modifications you did on DJ Studio, so you can take your DJ mix even further. Now, it's also worth mentioning that you can export your mix as a video file by pressing the YouTube icon on the export page. So whatever modifications you did on the Studio Mode video tab, it'll all be seen here. And speaking of YouTube, let's now move on to learning how to use YouTube and Spotify as our sources of music. The methodology here is pretty much the same as the previous section with a couple of small differences. So back on the home page, click the YouTube tab, then select YouTube. Now press Add Tracks. Here things will be a bit different as our source now includes streamable tracks. And in this section, you can also choose YouTube Music, 1001 Tracklist, and Spotify. Anyway, let's first tackle YouTube, then move on to Spotify. So on the YouTube tab, Let's search for a couple of popular DJs and their songs and load them up. Following our previous methodology, let's allow DJ Studio to do the heavy lifting and figure out the best harmonic order for the songs we've selected. Now that we have our songs sorted out, we can fine-tune and modify our transitions following the same approach we employed earlier. With our mixes, audio, and transitions all fixed up, let's save this project, export this mix, and see what we've created. Keep in mind that due to legal reasons, DJ Studio can't rip songs or export stream mix files. However, DJ Studio has found a clever workaround. So once you're done exporting, you'll be provided with a link so you can view and play your mix. And now let's finally move on to Spotify. So back at the home page, under the YouTube tab, click Start New Mix and then select YouTube. Then click Add Tracks and select the Spotify tab over here. Now there are two ways we can go about this. Method 1 involves searching for playlists directly on the Spotify tab here on DJ Studio. And method 2, which I find more accurate, is by pasting the Spotify playlist URL into this section over here. So with that said, let's do method number 2 for better accuracy and ease of use. So on our Spotify app, let's find the playlist we want to use. Once you locate it, copy its URL. Then paste that URL back on the Spotify tab on DJ Studio. In an instant, you'll see DJ Studio efficiently retrieve and load those tracks for us. And poof, here they are. Following our established method, either auto-mix these tracks and customize each transition, or just jump right into tailoring and adjusting your mix. Based on experience, it's highly advisable to refine the beat grids for each song and meticulously choose your preferred mix in and out points within your track. So basically, adjust your transition block accordingly and carefully. Now it's essential to note that DJ Studio isn't technically allowed to rip or directly use tracks from Spotify as a source. Instead, DJ Studio identifies the songs within your Spotify playlist and sources those exact tracks from YouTube. Now, with that in mind, export your mix and get your video link. Now keep in mind that this is just the beginning and more updates will come that'll make DJ Studio even better.